Well, thank you, Ben, for that great introduction. I must admit, when he was introducing me, he said, after saying that he spends some of his time preaching, he then said, when the Lord has spoken. Let me share you a little anecdote, if I may. The other day, I was sitting with my children, and the middle one, Mansoor, who's 5 years old, he was being asked by some of our friends who were visiting, saying, Mansoor, so where's the Lord? Now, as their friends sort of looked around, and my son, who actually is being taught in a Catholic school, quick as a flash, actually said, up there. And I think, true to form, there is only one Lord that ultimately, when spoken, that we really listen to with the attention that he truly deserves. But equally, it's a huge pleasure for me to be here in Ghana and in Accra with you all this early evening. Ben, again, in his introduction, said that he was intrigued by the fact that I was referred to as a Lord in waiting. Now, Lord in waiting to Her Majesty the Queen. And in that particular role, I had the great honor to receive various heads of state on Her Majesty's behalf. So it wasn't just about waiting around. The people we did the waiting on were often heads of state. But as has been said, I have recently been appointed as a Minister of State at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And it's a huge honor for me to be taking on this particular role, particularly as Minister for the Commonwealth, at such a crucial time in the Commonwealth's history. A time when I look towards all of you who are sitting on our great lawn of the residence today, because that's where the future of the Commonwealth lies, in its next generation, in the youth. Now, another small secret, don't tell anyone else in the world, he says, as we're being live streamed out to the world anyway, but Ghana was my first choice in terms of my first official visit to any Commonwealth country. Not only because this great country was the first African member state to join the Commonwealth family 60 years ago, but also, and this is essential because of the close relationship our two countries have long shared. I mean, you look at the Ghanaian diaspora in the United Kingdom, 250,000 strong. And it means that we now see Ghana as one of our closest Commonwealth allies and friends, one that will join us in building, I believe, a Commonwealth that is truly fit for purpose for the 21st century. And crucially, from your point of view, and I would say from my point of view as well, we were all young once. We want it to be an organization which truly reflects the future, which truly reflects its young people. That's why I want to spend a few moments just to talk about the United Kingdom's plans for the Commonwealth Summit, which is being held in London in April of next year, and why it matters to you. Well, first of all, the summit is a great family celebration that takes place every 2 years. Heads of the 52 strong Commonwealth governments get together and discuss the key issues of the day. And next year, as I've said, it's our turn in the UK to host. So in April, we'll be hosting meetings at some of our greatest historic venues, embedded in people's minds, from Windsor Castle to Buckingham Palace. But practically speaking, it's not just about the pomp and ceremony. We want this summit to have a real impact, a real difference to people's lives, right across the Commonwealth, right across the world. And the United Kingdom is a passionate supporter of the Commonwealth. And let me tell you why. First, because it's a quite unique institution with vast global reach and influence. It has already achieved many a great thing. Just look at the impact it had on the Paris Climate Change Agreement, when Commonwealth heads of government came together in Malta in 2015 to push for a global agreement to tackle climate change. And we strongly believe that the Commonwealth has huge further potential as a force for good. But that's not the only reason. My government, collectively, we all passionately support, and here comes the plane right on cue, So I shall pause, or shall I carry on and soldier through? Many a politician pride themselves on their ability to carry their voice over, and I can say that's 1-0 to me. They're going to throw on a bigger jet in a moment or two, I assure you. But let me tell you, I was talking about the passion and the support we have for the Commonwealth, because it's home to 1/3 of the world's population. And 2/3 of them, like many of you assembled here today, are under the age of 30. You represent the future, not just of your great country here in Ghana, but not just of the Commonwealth, but of the entire planet. That is why our bold ambition for the Commonwealth Summit is to reinvigorate and re-energize the Commonwealth. We want it to be an organization that works for the benefit of all its citizens and the wider world, men and women, young and old, rich and poor. For the Commonwealth to be truly relevant, it has to work for everyone, but especially for the young, for the next generation. Your voices, your opinions are as important to the collective governments of the Commonwealth as are those of the political leaders of the 52 member states themselves. The organization could, and indeed we think it should, have a real impact on your futures. And that's why I say to all of you, we want each and every one of you to play your part in reshaping it. You may ask an obvious question: does it really need reshaping? And to answer that question, let's just step back in time for a moment or two. 60 years ago, and for the rest of the 20th century, the Commonwealth family offered support for the newly independent countries. And yes, that includes Ghana as well. But today the world has changed. Greater demands are being placed on governments, on the planet, on people, on communities, on societies, on young people. We face new challenges, and some of them I hope we will discuss this evening. But let's just headline some of them. Technology, we heard in the introduction, we're being live streamed. Facebook, Twitter, social media has changed the face of the world and the way we communicate. Globalization. A few moments ago, taking a few moments out of my busy schedule, I was able to Skype my own children, seeing their familiar faces across hundreds of thousands of miles just to catch up. And that's how technology has changed. Globalization is having an impact. Automation. But then there are issues of demographic change, climate change, which I've already alluded to. And on a very serious note, an area which I have responsibility for at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, of how we together, collectively, every member state across the Commonwealth and beyond, globally meet the challenge of conflict, how we globally meet the challenge of curbing extremism and terrorism in all its ugly guises. So the world is changing, and the Commonwealth, to be relevant, must adapt and change too. Now, today, is the time to realize it's as yet untapped, incredible potential as a global force. For that to happen, me, you, we, collectively, all member states, must agree to revitalize, re-energize, and renew this incredible organization for all its strengths that it has. We must build an institution capable of meeting the new challenges of a rapidly changing world. In this regard, we see 4 key priorities for this revitalized institution. The first is about improving prosperity. The Commonwealth can help by boosting trade and investment between member countries. Our shared language and legal traditions are unique advantages that we should make more use of. And Ghana, as one of Africa's fastest growing economies, a hidden jewel, is well placed to help boost trade and to benefit from it. And ladies and gentlemen, if we succeed, if we truly succeed in improving trade and business links around the Commonwealth, around its 52 member states and beyond, there are more wishing to join. It means it will be easier for young people like many of you on the lawn this evening. It's no secret that Ghanaians are are amongst some of the most enterprising people on the continent, to set up businesses and sell products abroad. The second key priority is acting on climate change. It will affect us all in one way or another. In Ghana's case, rising global temperatures pose a real threat to cocoa production. What will we do without chocolate, I ask? Your exports would be seriously affected. That is why, as we did in 2015, as I've said already, we continue to work together on a global stage to implement the promises we all made in Paris to increase the resilience of Commonwealth countries that are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. And we are also hoping that the remaining African Commonwealth countries will follow your example, Ghana's example, and ratify the Paris Agreement. The third priority is about keeping all our citizens safe. We face the same threats that we did when the Commonwealth was founded: interstate conflict, civil war, and insurgency. But as I've said already, the threats have also multiplied and become more sophisticated. We now also face violent extremism and terrorism, as we witnessed ourselves in the UK recently on our streets. As we witnessed ourselves in the UK recently in Parliament, we suffer cyber attack, both state-based and criminal. And we know that organized crime operates not on street corners, but in dark corners of the web, across borders and jurisdictions. We believe the Commonwealth could play a more of a key role in tackling these new security challenges. And our fourth priority is to build a fairer future, based on our shared values of good governance, democracy, human rights, and equality, ensuring gender equality when it comes to employment and education. The organization, the Commonwealth, has a good record here. 7 of Africa's least corrupt countries are in the Commonwealth, and our election monitoring work through the Commonwealth is the envy of the world. And I may add here, as I've had various meetings with your ministers, including the President today, it's a message that perhaps Ghanaians themselves need to take forward. Sometimes when you're living it, you perhaps don't see the reality, the incredible reality of the strength of your governance, the strength of your democracies right here in Ghana. It is one of the strongest democracies across Africa, and it's a tribute to the people of this great country in terms of the successful democratic elections, 7 in a row, which we've seen Ghana witness. And young people, all of you here, have a key and vital role in promoting the benefits of an open, we sometimes use the word tolerant, but it's not just about tolerance. It's about understanding. And through understanding, building a stronger democratic society. So, ladies and gentlemen, these 4 priorities inform our approach to the Commonwealth Summit next year. And we want to see young people like you to be at the heart of them all. Because it's your futures we are talking about. Your prosperity, your security, your human rights, your world, your opportunity. But we, and I say by we, governments across the Commonwealth, cannot do this without you. We need you to get involved with the Commonwealth, to help us build that organization that can rise to the challenges of the 21st century and represent your interests on the world stage. As a leading African democracy, we hope that Ghana and young Ghanaians will work with the United Kingdom and help us collectively to realize our ambitious vision for the summit next year. I look forward to working with you to build that better future, a Commonwealth full of opportunities. And in doing so, that brighter Commonwealth where young people look towards the Commonwealth for hope, for opportunity, for employment, for business opportunities, but in sharing our experiences as well. As Eleanor Roosevelt famously said, the future belongs to those who believe in the reality of their dreams. Let's make this dream a reality for us all. Thank you.